Living History, World War II stories as told by those who were there.
Colonel Mulvaney was a World War II B-24 tail gunner in the 10th Air Force in India and was shot down on his 14th mission over Burma, and subsequently became an Army officer in Korea and Vietnam.
Yeah, well, my full name is Floyd, F-L-O-Y-D, Russell, R-U-S-S-E-L-L, Mulvaney, M-U-L-V-A-N-Y. I was born in El Laredo, Kansas on 22nd of August, 1922. The best mission I had, or let's say the worst, was when I got shot down. This was a highly classified special mission. They even prepared a special bomb for it. We were going to bomb the Burma-Siam Railroad, the death road that you've heard of so much about. Ran all the way from Rangoon up into northern India. It was the main Japanese supply route to prepare for their invasion of northern India. So we were told that we had to knock this railroad out to prevent the Japanese from getting up there. So they made a special bomb. They took a 100-pound bomb. They put a spike in the end of it, which was about 2 feet long and about 2 inches wide. They had an 8-second delay fuse, and here was the purpose of the spike and the 8-second delay fuse. We flew at a low altitude of 300 feet along the railroad, 300 feet now on a B-24. The spike would go down, penetrate, and the 8-second delay fuse would give us enough time so that when the bomb exploded, it'd blow out and blow the tracks away. Well, for this mission, each of us had 20 of those bombs. Or everybody had a certain area, about a 10-mile stretch of track they were supposed to bomb. We went over in formation in broad daylight and a low altitude. We flew beneath the radar all the way from India down to southern Burma, which was 840 miles one way. We had an extra 450-gallon gasoline tank in the bomb bay to get back and forth. So we went down, and the pilots, all this was just manual flying below radar, 100 feet or less, right across all the bay. We reached our target, we got there, and we were supposed to go down one at a time along our route and bomb the railroad. Well, before we got to the railroad, they were firing down from us. We were so low, they had their installations up on the mountain, and we got shot down at, for God's sake. I said, my God, they're shooting down at us. Not up, but down. So anyhow, we went along, and everybody dropped their bombs. And, of course, we were only interested in us. We couldn't see the other people because we were only one plane at a time. Well, we all got down. We dropped 19 of the 20 bombs we had. And we went around a curve, and here they caught us. There was a Japanese gun emplacement, machine guns and 20 millimeters. They shot out number 3. They shot out the fuel cell behind number 3. Gasoline started streaming back, and of course we all had to put on our oxygen mask to breathe. Remember now, we were only 300 feet. And the pilot, thank God the railroad was close to the bay. So the pilot turned off the railroad out over the bay with the engine feathered and the gasoline streaming, and we're trying to do everything we can. My buddy had his leg blown off and was bleeding to death, and we were trying to do that. And finally the pilot said, let's get rid of everything you can get rid of. We threw out everything but our parachutes. I mean, everything. We couldn't turn on the radios or anything because the spark might go with the gasoline. And we managed to get everything out. My buddy died, though. We couldn't save him. He just bled to death. That was all there was to it. Everybody else was wounded and had a hell of a time. My hands were so mangled I finally injected him with a morphine from our kit, but it was all I could do because my hands were all mangled.
From what?
Whatever the hell, I don't know what caused it. My legs were shot up, I was mangled. And my buddy, who was the bald turret gunner, had been taking still pictures out through the waist, which is at the bottom back here, the waist back there. And the flank got him, or the 20 millers got him, and he was sitting on his parachute, believe it or not. And the parachute and his flak vest all went out. I said, oh crap, there goes Jim. I thought it was his body flying out. Okay, I'm trying to make all of these up. It's hard to remember everything, but we finally got everything thrown out of the aircraft, and then number 4 engine quit. B-24 will not fly on 2 engines with 2 out on the same side. It was getting dark. We'd been in the air almost 10 hours. Well, by this time we were flying out over the water, and darkness descended. The pilot says, well, we can't make it. You're going to bail out or you're going to write it down. And we all said, we're not going to bail out this aircraft at nighttime over the Bay of Bengal. We'll go down with you. So we went down. He spliced it down. We all, thank God he was a good pilot. He was the squadron commander. Our co-pilot was a group commander. I was just on a special mission this time. So they got the plane down, the nose fell off, the pilot and the co-pilot was still strapped in their seats, and all they unbuckled it and floated up, but the co-pilot was knocked out cold. Thank God he floated on his back. The bombardier, who got out without a scratch other than the initial shocks that they hit him with, managed to pull the life rafts right above the pilot and co-pilot seat. He pulled the outside rings and rafts came out and inflated. And remember, it was dark. I was in the back. I was trying to get my buddy's body out so at least we could take it back with us, but I couldn't do that because the plane was crashing in. I was standing in the waist window back here and had my life vest on, and the window cracked. One side of my life vest just collapsed. So I only had one side that was open. I did manage to get out, but I don't know how. To this day, I don't know how I got out of that airplane.
Where did you come out?
I had to come out to the waist because that's where I was.
Was there a hatch there?
It was back in the waist. The window was there. I don't know how. I swear to God, I can't tell you. I just knew I was trying to get out the window. Whether I got out the window or not, I don't know. But to make a long story short, it took about 4 hours to round everybody up and put them in the 2 life rafts we had. And we stayed that way, and the old colonel, he was knocked out. He was the last one we found. Thank God he floated face up rather than face down.
Was there a moon? I mean, could you see?
No moon. There was nothing. And the swells were a good 6 to 8 feet. So, you know, you go up like this. My buddy, the flight engineer, had a broken collarbone, and he was hanging on to his parachute seat pack, or either that or a cushion, I can't remember, with one arm and whistling. And all we could hear, well, where the hell are you? Whistle again. Well, he whistled. We finally found him. It took all this time to round everybody up. And I was up. I had swallowed so damn much salt water. I was coughing up foam for 2 days.
Did you have 2 life rafts, or?
Yes, thank God. One on each side. One on each side.
So you were able to.
Yeah, we only had 9 people left. See, my buddy, I couldn't get his body out, so there were 9. There were 5 on one raft and 4 on another.
And what does a raft have in it for provisions?
Okay, it had cans of water, these small pint cans of water, and then it has what you call little hard candies that you suck to agitate your saliva gland. Well, when we opened up the water cans, nothing but green moss came out. So there was no water to drink. But thank God the hard candies had survived, so we started sucking on those. That was all we had. And everybody was just out of it, you know, plumb out of it. And the poor old colonel was so bad, his face was all beat up, and the pilot's face was beat up, and my buddy had a piece of the bomb bay door sticking in his neck here that we had to pull out and put sulfur powder on, so he was out of it. And we were just laying around. That was all we could do. There was nothing to do.
And was it hot or?
Oh yeah, it was
sunny?
hot. See, we were just offshore of Burma, a little bit north where we had landed, but we got caught in the Japanese current, which runs around the coast of Burma around to Japan. And we had drifted, we found out later, some 180 miles by the time they found us. But we were out there in the middle of the water, and of course we had nothing to drink because we opened up those cans. There was nothing in there but moss. They're sucking on these things, and we had this life raft. Had this great big yellow can cover on one side and blue on another. So if you put the blue over, it looked like the water on the ocean. If you put the yellow over, that was so somebody could see you. Well, we kept hearing these planes fly over. We never knew what the hell they were, Japanese or what. We were sure they were Jap, so we kept putting the blue cover on. Well, this went on for a day, that night, and the next day, and then finally, the next day we saw a little teeny way off, a little thing about like, oh Christ, they found us. This is the Japs found us. We thought it was a Jap plane.
Yeah.
It was so low in the water. Well, as it turned out, it was a British Liberator crew, flying Coast Patrol. They flew right over us. I got pictures of that. I was sitting in the life raft. They took pictures. I was sitting
Really?
out there, and we're
You
all
got
doing
some?
this.
Oh, bring those sometime.
Okay,
too. I'd like to have
my Eleanor, who works with me, she keeps copies of them down there to show people. So,
Great, yeah.
and so they finally found us, and they dropped a notice that help on the way. And they flew around us, and all of a sudden they flew away and dropped a little note: help coming soon. M51 Squadron. Yeah, well, that was their outfit. And we found out later that the reason they went away so suddenly, a Jap plane had spotted them. And rather for them, Jap plane to see us,
Right.
they curved them. But they saved our butts, and finally they sent a PBY out, and it was late that next day. It was almost dark again. And we fired flares, and of course there's this PBY way over, just circling, and we're way over here. And the pilot said, I've got 2 flares left. When we said, well, for Christ's sake, shoot them. Somebody's got to see the damn thing. So up in the air, and sure enough, there's this PB way. All of a sudden, comes and lands right beside it.